up, guys? Will with Urban Outdoors DMV. If you see my video I posted right before this, we did some major damage yesterday on the Eastern Shore. My wife single-handedly wrecked the catfish population over there in Blackwater, and we brought some home to cook. Yeah, we did some damage, guys, and honestly, we tossed back a whole lot. These two smaller ones were actually gut hooked, so they weren't going to make it anyway. So all these catfish here, they're all invasive. Channel cat, blue cat, blue cat, blue cat. I want to say it was a blue cat too. This right over here is a bullhead catfish. Again, they're invasive. I don't know if we're even supposed to throw them back, but when we catch them, we kill them because they are delicious. They are delicious invasive fish, and we definitely take them. And then we had 3 jumbo perch. I tossed perch back yesterday, but again, these guys were gut hooks. I think they ate big freaking minnows. So a couple of them were gut hooks, especially that guy. They weren't going to make it. So we do eat perch normally, but normally it's in the fall when they're huge like that. But we took them. Let's clean these guys up. Like I mentioned before, catfish especially, it's really important you bleed them. So what I do is I take a sharp knife, like, well, not this knife because this is my good fillet knife, but I keep a knife with me. And then right away, as soon as I catch them, I take their tails off. I take their tails off, I let them bleed out, I let gravity take care of it, and then right on the ice. Because putting your fish right on ice has a huge effect on the meat quality you get, and bleeding it, especially with catfish, a lot of times on some of the channel cats and stuff like that, there'll be like a red tint to it. If you bleed them, it doesn't happen, and it tastes way, 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 way better. So one of the things I wanted to learn when I started doing a lot of stuff in the outdoors was how to sharpen a knife. Now I got this sharpening knife from Amazon, and it does do a good job. I keep this thing in my kitchen because in the summertime we fillet and go through so much fish. It just makes sense to have a good sharpening stone and, you know, a good knife. You need a good knife for sure. That's like an absolute must. You gotta have a good knife. So I keep my knife sharp because I use them constantly. All right, the white perch. They are tasty little guys, but they're little. So you can do them whole. There's a way to do them whole where you cut them out and then you descale them. And then I got friends from the islands. Like I know a bunch of guys like Jamaicans and cats like that. They like to eat it with the head on and everything. That's not my thing, man. I grew up in America, and yeah, that's not my deal. But I mean, they taste okay like that. The fish whole, with the head on and everything, and jerk, and you throw them on the grill. It tastes okay, but I'm bougie, man. I don't like bones. So the first thing you do, lift up that fin. There's head back here, so you make a diagonal cut. Bam, right in there. Okay. And you run along the backbone, like so. Staying close to that dorsal, because you don't want to lose any meat. Okay. And then once you feel the end of the backbone, push it through, and then you pull out like that. Then I like to peel them back to peel as much meat off of these guys as I can, because perch are small fish. So you can cut through that rib bone, or you can kind of go around it. I like to just go around it. Be easy, because you don't want to lose any meat on these little fish.
Ooh.
And once you got that side off, down, use your little fingers, and you get a little bit of a bite. This part is important. Instead of trying to cut down the fish, you grab that skin and you try to pull the fillet as opposed to the other way around. And what you wind up with is a small but boneless fillet, and they are tasty. You get a nice little fish stick out of those, and we're gonna fry these later for the kids. when you're filleting these fish, especially these perch, these small ones, that's what you want. I mean, if you can tell, I got like 99.9% of the meat off there. The only meat that's left is in between the bones. And if you had a bigger fish, like a rockfish or striper or whatever, you can take it, you cut the guts out, or even a big catfish, and you boil this thing, and then you'd pull the bones out, and you'd have a really nice base for any kind of fish soup you wanted to make. But these guys are little, and we're not going to do that.
Ow, don't catch me.
All right, catfish. Catfish are going to have rib bones, and right back here. So you want to start from the other side of the rib bones. Go right down in there. Okay, just like the perch. Right that backbone. You don't want to waste any of the meat on these guys. And onto the other side. Right that backbone back. Take it, peel it back. Nice. So a lot of times with catfish, you can kind of see it on this, and there's a little bit of blood left in there, but it's a lot nicer catfish fillet. Where sometimes you get off these cats, and that's because you bleed them. Okay, so I know some people actually will clean them and then they'll take the skin off and rip it off with pliers. You could do that, but you know, you kind of don't need to. Just grab it and pull it right off of there, just like that. And again, we got 99% of the meat, a little bit of meat left in there. That's not a big deal. You got a nice catfish fillet. And wash this guy off real good. And damn, that's what you're left with. Nice clean fillet. Alright, your bigger catfish. This guy's not a really good example because he's on the small side, but I mean your real giants are going to have actual belly meat. So you're taking big, delicious, invasive catfish, or any catfish in general, you always got to remember that the bigger cats have belly meat. So you cut around it, like I just did. You don't want to cut into the guts because that's when it's really going to stink. Okay? Those are all those guts right there. Looks like this is a female. Got a bunch of eggs. But like I said, these are invasive catfish. We're not worried about that. So because the belly on this catfish is, there's not that much to it. So there's a stomach lining on one side and skin on the other side. So you can create a little hole right there. Grab pliers. It's helpful. You don't have to do this, but it's helpful. Once you grab your pliers, you pull that skin right off of there. I don't know if you can tell, but sometimes, especially with bigger catfish, you're going to have where the meat kind of gets a little bit yellow. And all it is fat. It's not pollution, it's not anything that's going to hurt you. You can eat it, but if you want to, any place you got a big fat deposit, because some people just don't like the way it tastes, you go ahead and trim that off. Like that. So it's got like a yellowish tint to it. That's just fat. That's fat from the fish. So if you want to, not going to hurt you to eat, but if you want to, you can take it off. Look at that bullhead catfish, guys. First time I caught one of those guys. Look at the mouth on this dude. Dude got a head like a pit bull. Got a big head and a little normal sized body. Now guys, this belly meat came off of that bull catfish. That's belly meat off a bull cat. So when you bleed these things right and you take care of your meat and you ice it, your meat is going to be snow white like that. And I'm telling you, it looks like a scalp and it's going to be phenomenal. Guys, that's the culmination of those fish we caught, and they're all been filleted. It's all boneless. It's all white. Want some sushi? Want some sushi? Smell it, smell it. Yes or no? I knew you wouldn't. He's like, that didn't come in my bag. What the hell is that? But if I cooked it, you would eat it. Literally everything I'm going to use. You got the pan for your egg wash. I got breadcrumbs. You have flour. Peanut oil. Got to use peanut oil when you're dealing with fish. It just makes it taste better. I got a couple eggs for the egg wash. Your fish. I got a cast iron skillet, of course. And then you can just use salt and pepper. It doesn't matter. I like to get a little complicated, and I like this stuff. I use Everglades fish and chicken. It's going to go in the wash or on the fish a little bit afterwards. We're going to mix it with our flour. But this is what will work for me. Nice egg wash. The excess over there. I'm going to take some Everglades fish and chicken, throw that in there, in the wash. Alright, so I like to cut my catfish into nuggets. This is good, especially when little kids are eating it. So I'll take it and just cut it in the nuggets. Like so. Leave that one. This part is critically important, or else nothing else is going to work. When you cut it up, dry it off. Pat it dry. And then one in the flour. This is why you lay all your stuff out. After you pat it dry, in the flour, in the egg wash, right into the panko breadcrumbs, right into the breadcrumbs, and then you put it there. Now, another critical part of this is letting it dry. You gotta let it dry. I like to use paper plates because, well, I like to use paper plates because I know I'm going to make a mess. It's easier to just throw everything out. And I like to set up stations like this because it's just easy to go right down the line. Alright, so when everything's breaded up and ready to go in the fryer, that's exactly what it's supposed to look like. Alright, so sorry about that. I got like 15 things going at once and I'm trying to feed the whole family. So, get a little bit of extra seasoning. Put it on there. And then we're going to put this in there. Now you want your temperature of your oil to be 325, which is great if you have a thermometer, but I don't have one. I have one in my other house and I have no idea where it is. Just lay that in there. Nuggets for the kids. Come out really good. It's going to be really delicious. And it's fresh catfish, all white meat. It's going to be good. So this is the kind of consistency you're looking for. It wants to be a nice golden brown. And this really was not cooked. Got burnt. Really was not on there for that long. So when it gets golden brown like that, you're good to go. And you wind up with nice fillets like that. You want one of those things?
Yeah, let me grab one.
Alright guys, I was sitting over here in my studio at my workstation, my computer, and I realized that I didn't shoot an end to the video. So thanks for watching the catch, clean, and cook, even though the catching was in one video and then the cleaning and cooking was another. I appreciate it. We're going to be hanging out all summer, doing a ton of fishing, making a ton of videos, shooting stuff. And we ate all that catfish. It didn't survive the night. I had a whole big pilot from all those catfish from those fish that we caught, and it was gone a couple hours after we cooked it. So thank you for joining me in this episode of Urban Outdoors DMV. And we'll see you next time.